Well, Joan Rivers is a very easy act to follow, so thank you to those of you who stayed and welcome to those of you who just arrived. I'm very excited today to be talking about new frontiers in digital publishing. And with me, I have Maria Rodale, who's the chairman and CEO of Rodale Inc., and Justin Stefano, who is a co-founder of Refinery29. But before we get started, can you guys tell me a little bit more about your backgrounds and sort of what you're focused on at work right now? I'll start with you, Maria.
Yeah, I'm a third generation family member of Rodale Inc., which is a private family owned company, and I've been working in the business since a very, very long time ago, probably 35 years, and I've sort of seen it all and worked in all the different areas of the company and worked my way up to CEO and chairman for the last 4 years, which of course have been the hardest 4 years of anybody's life. So that's the short version.
Okay, and Justin?
I actually have a very different story. I'm a first generation publisher in the space. I actually started Refinery29 shortly after graduating school, and for the past 8 years have been just kind of growing and organically developing the business. And today I oversee the revenue, finance, business development roles, and I also work with my co-founder to work on kind of strategic product decisions and directions.
Can you guys in the back hear us okay, or is it pretty quiet? Okay, we'll try to speak a little louder. But Maria, you just mentioned this. It's been a pretty tough environment for publishers in the last few years, very volatile advertising market. And we've seen a sort of shift, right? A lot of publishers, online publishers, and magazine publishers are starting to explore e-commerce, moving sort of from just advertising products to actually trying to sell them. You guys are both involved in this space. Can you sort of outline for me what you're doing?
Yeah, well, we've been doing digital stuff for a long time, but it's very reliant on advertising. And with the recession and advertising kind of shifting where they spend, as a business leader, I wanted to make sure that we were really diversifying our business model. And I looked out, at the internet and said, okay, where are people, not advertisers, individuals like you guys, actually spending money, and it's shopping. And so just yesterday, we launched Rodales.com, which is a shopping experience for your whole life. It's where inspired design meets healthy living. So it's everything from clothing to beauty products to kitchen stuff, and it's really, I'm really proud of it, and we're 2 days in, so love if you check it out.
So I'm curious, why did you set up a separate shopping website? I mean, you already have these massive audiences for all your individual titles. Could you have just, set up shops on those sites or sort of integrated them into editorial pages?
Well, I've been wanting to do a shopping site for about 10 years, and I kept hitting this wall with the publishers and editors of magazines. The editors would say, well, we can't, compromise our editorial integrity, and the publishers would say, we can't compete with our advertisers. We don't want to offend them by, not carrying their product. And when I really looked at the market and what kind of shopping site I'd really want to create, it was very different than any of our brands anyway. So as soon as we made the decision to create a new brand, everything fell into place, and here we are.
And how does it work? I mean, did you guys go out there? Do you have buyers? Are you buying product? Are you working with somebody else?
The first thing I did is hire Anthony Astorita, who's the guy who developed the Nook for Barnes & Noble, and he's, my builder. So he's, an engineer and really started building the site. And then we hired merchandisers and buyers from places like Anthropologie and Saks Fifth Avenue. And it's totally a different business for us, different language and different reports, and so we all have been learning and having fun with it.
And how much have you invested? How many employees do you have?
Well, we sort of pulled from existing employees as much as we could, which we're lucky to have, and so it's hard to count like how many people, because there's a lot of people who do a lot of things, but it's probably about 10 people who are fully dedicated. And it's a significant investment for us. But the way I look at it, it's a lot less significant than launching a new magazine, and who would do that these days?
Interesting observation. And Justin, can you tell me a little bit about, I mean, Refinery29 has shops. I've written about it. I love it. Can you tell me more about it?
Yeah, absolutely. For us, back to just quickly the original question. We didn't launch commerce as a reaction to a shrinking ad business. Our ad business has been growing. It's up almost 100% year over year for the past 3 years straight. And we actually launched our first iteration of commerce in 2007 when the ad business was just, it was like fireworks and highball martinis at lunch and everything was going crazy. So for us, it was, our decision to launch commerce came from a very clear user need that we saw and that we heard from our customers. We were constantly in a dialogue with people coming to our site about what they wanted, and going back to the beginnings, the feedback that we kept getting was that people wanted to be able to buy directly from the content that we were creating. So it was really addressing a user need more than an economic need early on. So back to the question about what it is today and kind of what it's evolved into. Today we have commerce integrated at as many kind of friction and inspiration points as possible throughout the site. And we set up boutiques and experiences for our brand partners, both brands that we work with on the advertising side and also brands that we work with strictly in an e-commerce setting to create super compelling storytelling environments in which people can shop.
Now, are you carrying inventory, or are these really like advertising products? How should I think about this?
Both.
Okay.
So we have certain experiences in which we actually will hold the inventory in our warehouse and pack it and ship it. And then we have other experiences in which it's drop shipped by the end consumer, or by the actual retailers. And then we have a third way that we do it, which is that we have what we call tickets, which is where we create an shopping experience on someone else's site with our users. So someone comes, they buy a ticket to the commerce event, and they go to the other site to actually engage in a shopping party or a shopping event.
And of those sort of three types, which is the biggest part of your business?
We've been increasingly moving more and more product. So product and product boutiques, especially vintage, has been a growth category for us.
And that's sort of the drop ship merchandise?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the drop ship stuff. And tickets. Tickets are an amazing marketing. It's funny because tickets kind of blur that line between marketing and commerce. They really are a marketing activation because they're driving our audience to someone else's site to shop. But commerce is the hook that gets people that kind of pulls people over.
Now, dropship models are pretty popular among publishers, but they can be complicated, right? Because I can check out on your website, but I'm going to be receiving packages from several different retailers, and what happens when I want to return something? I mean, how do you handle customer service? How do you ensure that it's like a consistent experience?
Well, the first thing you have to do is make sure that the partners that you work with are really good. I mean, that's incredibly important. So we turn away partners and people that want to do e-commerce activations every day because we don't think that they have a good site experience and we don't think that they have a good customer service experience. So you have to really vet the people that you work with.
Who are some of the people you're working with?
So we've been working with boutiques like it's small guys, everyone from kind of Stephen Allen's and stores like In God We Trust and Catburn and kind of small mom and pop brick and mortar retailers. To everyone from Diane von Furstenberg and Macy's. Okay. So there's a pretty kind of broad spectrum of the types of brands that we can activate on the platform.
And you've talked, I know there's the shops area, and you've mentioned that the shops are sort of highlighted on other parts of the site. Are we actually seeing products that you're carrying or that are part of the dropship model? Are they also in editorial pages? Or how does that relationship work?
Yeah, so actually just yesterday we launched full integration on editorial templates. So we have certain editorial stories that you can go to now that flow through the main primary content channel, and inside of those stories you can actually add something to your shopping cart, enter in your information, check out and buy something, and it gets shipped to you. So, but that's new literally as of yesterday, and please don't go use it right now because it's probably riddled with small glitches, but it's an amazing, it's a really proud first step towards full integration, which is the direction where we're going.
And do people know that they're buying from you, or does it just seem so seamless?
Yeah, no, they absolutely know. One of the most important kind of values to maintain when you really talk about integration of content and commerce, and just across the board with the way that kind of content and commerce and conversion in general is transparency. So you have to be incredibly transparent with your user base so that they know what they're buying, who they're buying it from, and what the back-end dynamics and economics are like so they don't feel like they're being tricked or having wool pulled over their eyes.
Right.
It's really important. The transparency piece is crucial.
Now, Maria, you've started a website, but your shopping destination is totally separate. Will we see editorial integration like we've seen sort of with Refinery29?
Yeah, we actually already, as part of the launch of Rodale's, have a Discover section that is editorial content that is uniquely tied to the products that we're selling and the lifestyle that we're selling. So we really feel like a part of our mission is to help people navigate this confusing world of like eco labels and health claims and content is a key part of that. So we really make it kind of simple and easy for people to understand. And right now that is kind of self-contained within the site. So it's already launched. Yeah.
So this is a question for both of you. I mean, you guys are trusted advisors, right? Your readers come to you for advice about what to buy, what to wear, like what should I get for my friend's bridal shower. When people trust you to recommend products for them agnostically, and now you're carrying your own products, how do you keep readers' trust? How do you know that? How are they supposed to know that you're not just selling or recommending a product to them because you have a vested stake in it?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it comes back to transparency. You have to be incredibly transparent about what a user is getting and what it is. I mean, you don't want to trick someone. So you don't want someone coming onto the site and adding something to the shopping cart and not understanding that they're buying something from you if they are in fact buying something from you. So you have to overly communicate. We think that's the most important thing. The other thing is that you have to make sure that everything you sell, you actually believe in. And this is a really important thing, which is that the editors have to believe, the editors at our site have to believe in the merchandise that we're actually putting out there in front of our consumers, regardless of transparency. And that's true with every piece of content that we create, but especially with the commerce stuff, it's really important.
Does that mean your editors then are also working as buyers?
No. Okay. We have two separate teams. But our editor-in-chief oversees both operations when it comes to the actual curation of merchandise.
Right.
So I'm curious though, if you're an editor, right, and you're putting together a slideshow of like great white dresses, do you kind of start with the ones that you're selling on the website, or like how does that work?
No, the editors have full freedom in terms of how they curate editorial content, and they're not forced to pull anything from our site and from our commerce catalog.
But when will they?
If they choose to, they can, but it is not by any means mandated or imposed on them.
Okay.
It's two separate things. And as a matter of fact, out of the gate, we're really keeping the templates separate so that the majority of the stories actually all of the stories right now that are pure editorial are exactly that. They're pure editorial. And the commerce templates that you'll see, and those are the ones that we launched yesterday, are exclusively commerce, so that they're very separate. Although they're happening in the same channel, they're separate experiences.
Yeah, we had a similar, conflict initially, with editors kind of worried about this, and what I said over and over again is really this is a commerce-first site, and editorial is in support of that, but it's really, we don't talk about our own products in the editorial. It's really about health tips or benefits of certain choices, and it's totally separate from our magazine or book brands. But ultimately, I think he's right in that you just have to believe in the products that you're selling and choose them because you think that they're the best, and let the consumer decide what they think, and then that's a service. That's the service we're in.
So at the same time that you guys are sort of inching closer and closer to e-commerce, retailers we've seen have hired editor-in-chiefs. They're investing in content. Net-a-Porter kind of reads like a magazine. Mr. Porter is run by the former editor of Esquire UK. And I mean, like even Net-a-Porter is also even doing advertising. So the businesses are almost starting to look similar. I'm curious, who can do it better? Like who's going to win in this competition, or is it not a competition at all?
I don't think it's I don't think it's I don't like to think about it as competition. I think it is, again, a service to a customer, and ultimately, I think you just have to have integrity about what you do and love what you do, just like Joan Rivers said, and people respond to that. So, good on them for doing what they're doing. We're doing what we're doing, and I think people are just becoming more sophisticated in what they want and expect from any kind of experience, and we have to deliver on that.
Justin?
Yeah, look, I think that that creating good content is really hard. It's a lot harder than people think.
Yes.
And I think that creating or producing an incredible commerce experience is really hard. It's a lot harder than people think. And so I think that there's a lot of e-commerce companies trying to get into media, and some will succeed and some won't. And vice versa, there's a lot of content companies trying to get into commerce, and some will succeed and some won't. At the end of the day, I think those businesses can coexist. And we, our belief is that we want we want their magazine to do well. We want their business to do well because we see them as a partner, a long-term partner for us. So I hope that it works.
A long-term partner in the sense that they are going to advertise with you.
They're an advertiser, and we would also at a certain point like to actually sell their stuff through our platform in some way or another. So for us, we're just really focused on driving value to brands, and any way we can do that, we'll do.
All right, so before I move on from e-commerce, is there anyone in the audience who wants to ask a question? Anyone? Is there? Okay. All right, I'm going to keep going then.
There's a woman in the
Oh, sorry, right down here. Can you repeat the question one more time? Sorry. So her question is, why have the separation at all? Why not just have editors pick the product and then sell it?
Right. If our editors want to do that, they can. There's nothing that's preventing them from doing it, but there's also nothing that is forcing them to do it. So they can include, if there's something that we sell on the e-commerce side that they want to include in a product roundup, they could theoretically include it in their product roundup, but we're just not going to make them do it. Yeah.
But it's also a very different skill set. Writing and editing a good story, even if it's about products, is a very different skill set than going out and finding products and negotiating the whole process there. So ultimately, it's best when it's a partnership.
Yeah, merchandising is a completely different ballgame.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? Or right here.
Hi, I wanted to ask about what you think of bloggers like the Man Repeller, Leandra Medine, when she does brand partnerships to promote something while she's also on the editorial side, and if that could pose a problem for her.
Great question.
I'm not familiar with her, but I'm a blogger and I don't get paid for anything, so if people need to make a living, then that's their choice on how to make a living. So, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I don't see a problem with it as long as it's transparent. I think the internet everything comes back to just being clear and transparent with your users about, if you're paid to do something or if you're not paid to do something. But they need to make money.
Yes.
Any other?
Need to eat.
Oh, sorry. Any other questions before we move on? Okay. So we've talked a little about e-commerce, but there's lots of things happening in digital publishing right now. You guys are both obviously investing in social media, and mobile's another big thing you're looking at. Maybe can you guys talk about other areas that you're excited about? Is it social? Is it mobile? Are you looking at something else as areas for growth?
Well, for us, obviously mobile is a big thing, and more and more people are just accessing everything through there, and it's a different dynamic. So just shifting, our existing business towards that is a massive undertaking, and it's, it seems like it's constantly, just when you figure out mobile, there'll be something else that we have to shift towards. So that's, that's a big part of what we do. But, what I'm looking forward to is actually rolling out this e-commerce platform to our other brands, and we have partners in 44 countries with Men's Health and Women's Health, and they're excited about, having branded e-commerce stores. And but then I'm also, my next thing is some kind of a food brand. So
Some kind of food brand, but not a magazine, since you said you're not launching more magazines.
it might have a magazine component, but I wouldn't start with a magazine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe something digital.
Something in digital that makes money.
Okay.
It won't be a website.
It won't be a website.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe a tablet product.
We'll see.
Okay. Something I'll write about. Justin, what about you? What are you excited about?
Well, for the remainder of the year, we're focusing on a couple big initiatives, and mobile is definitely one of them. But we're not just taking our editorial site and just kind of repackaging it for mobile. We're actually building out an experience for mobile specifically that is going to be primarily focused on shopping and product discovery and brand discovery, which is what a lot of people are spending time doing on their mobile devices. We think that the content, consuming content on a mobile device with just an HTML5 site, just a mobile optimized site, is already a good enough experience without having to build mobile apps to enhance it. So we're really, again, focusing on an experience specifically for mobile, meant for mobile. And it's going to be commerce. And then video. I think Joan Rivers at the end of the interview mentioned that she believes that the transition has already happened. I love that Joan Rivers is the one like screaming that from the stage. But we're really focusing on video and just ramping up our video content, distributing it more in places, getting more people coming onto our platform and viewing it. And yeah, those are the two big initiatives.
What makes great internet video? I mean, do you sort of take the YouTube template and do something that's really fast and shortly edited? Do you take sort of the broadcast model? Is there like a sweet spot in terms of content or like how long videos are?
I think it completely depends on what you're trying to achieve. I mean, Vice has done an amazing job with video online, right? And their video tends to be, a lot of the bigger pieces they do tend to be more kind of long form.
Right.
Long form journalism, and then you have companies like Now This News, which I think are doing incredible things with video.
Can you talk a little bit about what
with
Now
just
This
kind of
News
short 90-second news clips?
Okay.
It's basically, I mean, Now This News should be talking about Now This News, but it's basically it's I don't want to describe their business for them, but it's a new modern news business. It's kind of similar to almost like an MTV News, but for the YouTube social generation. And everything is really short, just 90-second clips about just current events and news that people want to consume. And it's great, and it's super entertaining and addictive, and I think they've done an incredible job.
And one thing we haven't talked about is advertising. Are you guys, print advertising, still not a very healthy market, although it's doing pretty well in beauty, so I'm sure that's great for you guys. What are you looking at? Are you looking at native advertising opportunities? How's your display business doing? Is there anything else that you're exploring?
We're actually having our best kind of first half of the year that we've had in ages, and so we're way up compared to where we were, and I think partly because we've really shifted how we.
Are you talking about print or the overall advertising business?
Overall, but print also, print especially, because that's a comeback as opposed to the digital just onward increase. But the real key there has been to create kind of integrated ideas. So it's not just buy this page or buy this banner, but we've got a really creative idea that includes social, includes mobile, includes events, and once we kind of package all that together, we've had a great response. But it takes a lot of work to do that.
Yeah. And I'm curious, why are you? Because not everyone's seeing a comeback in print ad dollars. Why are you guys seeing that?
I was just actually thinking about that the other day, and I think it's because we are in the health and wellness space, which is just such a relevant space for people right now. And it goes in and out of style, but when things we mean something. We're not just a superficial business. We actually stand for something, and I think people are really looking for that. Advertisers are looking for that kind of credibility, that meaningfulness, and obviously our customers are looking for that too, and so it's a kind of a happy relationship.
Right. And Justin, I know you've talked about couponing, which is a pretty innovative product in terms of advertising. Are there new units that you're rolling out? Any part of your business that's growing?
Yeah, I mean the area in our ad business that has been growing the fastest is the kind of native advertising content marketing piece. So, and it's actually what has driven our growth for the past 3 or 4 years now. We work really closely with brands to create content that we distribute out through our social channels and through our site that really brings their story and brings their brand to life.
What does that look like, that content?
It can, for example, we did a program with Levi's called Game Changers, and it was we brought together 20 incredible entrepreneurs, everyone from Kevin from Instagram to a couple running a butcher shop in San Francisco, and we styled them in Levi's clothing. And this was sponsored content. It was branded content, so it was basically a Levi's ad. And we told their story about how they created their business and kind of what motivated them to go to work every day and what they felt passionately about. And then we took that content and we distributed it out through our channels. And it performed incredibly well because our users were interested in the subjects.
Right.
And they engaged in the subjects. And yes, the subjects were wearing Levi's clothes. And at the bottom of each article or each slide in the program, there was links out to where you could actually buy that merchandise. But that's not why the people read the program or engaged in the program. It wasn't about the Levi's clothes. It was about the personalities in the content, that we were covering. So we're doing that type of thing more and more and growing that bigger and bigger by figuring out how to get more and more people into it and distributing it out even off of our platform to more eyeballs.
Now you call that native advertising because it's just like the kind of content that you would produce elsewhere on the site.
Yeah. It works with the kind of editorial voice and the editorial mission of our site. It is produced internally, so we have an internal agency that works exclusively on producing this type of content, and and it feels organic to the platform, so that our users want to engage with it. One of the things that we believe as an organization is that we're responsible for every pixel that we put in front of our readers, including the advertising on the site. So as much control as we can possibly have over those ads, we take.
So I know we're running, we only have a few minutes left. A question there, maybe? Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I'm just going to repeat this again. Her question was for the Levi's campaign, how they measured whether that was successful. Sorry, go ahead.
So it depends. It varies depending on the brand. So every brand is different. With Levi's specifically, the measure was page views on the program, social shares, social engagement, repins, all of the kind of standard KPIs that a brand would look at. And so you kind of roll those all up together into a total kind of audience exposure number, and that's how they're gauging success.
Question right here.
Any thoughts on Tumblr, the first billion-dollar internet company out of New York?
Yeah, a lot of thoughts. It's amazing. I mean, it's absolutely amazing, and I couldn't be happier for those guys. It's incredible, and I think that it's incredible for the New York ecosystem. New York has had a lot of incredible digital businesses launch over the past 10 years, especially over the past 4 years, and there haven't been a lot of big exits. And so it's incredible to finally see a big exit in New York City. I mean, of course, there's been others. There's been Buddy Media, and there's been Shutterstock and other guys with huge amounts of success, but to have such a high-profile, visible consumer internet exit in New York City, I think is a real milestone for the industry here.
Any other questions? Yep. I'm a little blinded, so I can't see. Okay, well, we're actually, so we have about 2 minutes left. One thing we still haven't talked about is social media, and I know that's a big area for both of you guys and looking sort of in traffic growth. Can you start, and I know like Pinterest is a big one because that's something I talk to Rodale about all the time. What are your investments in that space? How are you thinking about social media? Is there anything that you're looking, is there anything that's useful in social media, sort of beyond driving traffic back to your own websites?
I mean, I think social media is an incredible opportunity to like learn from our customers and our fans, and just to engage in that relationship and ask them questions. And I think there's so much more we could be doing. I feel like we're just at the beginning of really exploring that whole relationship. But it's such a part of everybody's lives now, and such an important part. So I see a huge potential for that. But I think the key there is how do you translate that into sales? And I don't think we've seen, we've cracked that nut yet.
Do you think it will be cracked?
I think it will. I mean, I'm determined to crack it.
Does that mean I'm going to be buying stuff then from Facebook or Pinterest? Or are we still mostly going to look at referrals and?
I don't know yet because I haven't cracked it yet.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me know.
I will. When I figure it out, I'll let you know.
What about you, Justin?
Social media is our most important. It's one of the biggest and most important feedback loops, traffic feedback loops for our site, and kind of just direct conversational channels that we have with our users. So it serves, and we've managed to turn it into a revenue channel as well. So we have kind of three.
How did you do that?
Well, we did it by using those channels as a way to distribute the native content that we create. So when we create, back to the Levi's example, we can take the Levi's content and we can actually, we can send that out through all of our various tracks, through our Facebook train tracks and our Pinterest train tracks, and it just amplifies the total reach of the program and drives success. And drives engagement and also drives revenue because we actually associate a revenue number with those views. So we've just been bundling it into the content marketing stuff. So that's how we've managed to do it, because otherwise it's difficult from just an advertising standpoint to make money via social media. But we're continuing to focus on it, and it's obviously, it's an incredibly important channel for us.
Yeah. So unfortunately we are out of time, but I did enjoy this conversation so much. New frontiers, we've talked about the evolution sort of from banner advertising more to display, new opportunities there. Also, again, moving beyond advertising and e-commerce, and also new opportunities in mobile and social. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.